Welcome to ADHD Friendly. I am Patty Blinderman. I am an ADHD coach here to help you find ADHD friendly ways to thrive with your brain wiring. So this is a special 10 episode, Becca. Every 10th episode, I bring a topic that helps you think about what would you add to your personal owner's manual. So if you already have one and you're just, looking for new sparkly ideas, tools to help continue adding to it so it's supporting you to thrive with ADHD, that's what this episode's all about. And if you don't have one yet, I invite you to check out my website, ADHDfriendly.com. There's lots of resources on there to get you started on yours. A little tickler. I'm also getting ready to offer the first live course. Becca's looking at me like, don't say it, because I said I'm not going to talk about it. But I'm not sharing any information because I'm not sure if I'm going to make it public or not. But I'm excited because it's creating that urgency to put structure around it. So right now it's just available in the membership. I'm not quite sure if I'm going to open up outside of the membership. I don't know if I have the time to build the structure around that, but I'm excited to offer it because it does help people to really, over the course of almost 2 months, really weekly understand what they need and what's going to work for them and really build their owner's manual in a way that helps them to connect with it and develop a habit around using it over time. So that I'm super excited about. All right. Episode 140. Woohoo! It's that special 10, every 10th episode. Every episode ends in a 0. Special episode. So we're going to do a mid-year check-in because this comes out right before the mid-year mark.
Yes.
And we're just going to see how your 2024 is going so far. And I've got some ideas for how to support yourself around that. And then I'm going to start with my celebration first. I've got a bunch of celebrations today, Becca. This might be like the bulk of this episode. It's just me celebrating left and right now. But like some real like ADHD typical challenges, I've got a couple of celebrations around. But let's start as we do with our little update. I get to move 2 numbers. I'm so excited. Welcome, new subscribers. If you haven't and you're interested in taking that moment to subscribe, again, it doesn't cost anything. It's just how YouTube counts their members who are subscribing to individual podcasts to age 72. So welcome. So appreciative. I say it every week, but I genuinely mean it. It's just like this happy little thing that I have evidence that I'm connecting in any way, shape, or form because I'm talking to a computer screen and Becca here. Yeah. So outside of this little like space, there's not really a lot of evidence that what I'm sharing is reaching others, except for this. And then, the comments that I get when people post comments. I really am looking forward to the day, Becca, when I get enough comments to have a Q&A segment where I get to answer questions. So if you have questions that would be appropriate for the podcast, post them. Would love to have a few to pull and share. All right. So some celebrations besides new subscribers. First, I just want to share, I'm going to say it wrong. It's one of those things that I never say. Like I hear it, but I've never said it out loud. Shawarma.
Oh,
okay. Yeah. So like Middle Eastern,
like the meat
dish. Yeah. Is it meat? Is shawarma? I don't know. I said now I feel like I've had it. Is shawarma the meat itself?
It's meat, right?
Well, yeah. I got chicken. I got a chicken like platter, but I had like a creamy sauce over it with some hummus and some like chopped veggies. It was over like a bed of rice.
That sounds delicious.
And then I got a shawarma beef bowl that had like red cabbage and some rice and some things. I didn't like that as much as the chicken with the sauce and the pita. It was yummy. I have wanted it since I saw the Avengers movie when they first talked about shawarma. And I was like, what are you talking about? Had no idea. Still walked into the restaurant. It opened right across from the knit shop, which is how I was like, I got to try this. And I don't try new food often. So for me, this is really a celebration. I have sensitivities to flavors and different foods. So I'm kind of a reluctant trier of new things. And so I was really proud of myself because even I went despite my husband didn't want any. I didn't know he didn't like it. I thought because my husband likes like a lot of foods. He just doesn't like shawarma specifically. Yes. But and maybe it is just meat. See, I still don't even, I thought I knew what it was now that I've had 2. That's why I got 2 varieties. Yeah. Like, well, I need to try a couple different kinds.
Right.
But maybe it's just the shaved meat that's the actual shawarma.
I don't know. Maybe.
Right in. Inquiring minds want to know.
Yeah.
Anyway, I tried it. Okay. And this is like my funny, like last week, if you checked out last week's episode, I talked about how you can have your oral health impacted by ADHD. It's really hard to pay attention, build up habits around brushing your teeth, flossing your teeth, keeping up with going to the dentist for regular checkups. All of those things are challenging. I shared that I have an electric toothbrush that I've been using,
Yes.
and Becca very humorously shared that her toothbrush shuts off after 2 minutes. And clearly from my reaction, I had no idea if mine did that because I had never brushed that long to where it would turn off automatically. So I went because we recorded this on Wednesdays. I tried it last Wednesday night
Yeah.
and it did turn off after 2 minutes. I made it. Yeah. I know. And so now I've done it every night since then. And I do focus. I got this tip from somebody at my knit group. I shared, I'm like, don't judge me, guys, but did other people know your toothbrush turned? And like everybody else is looking at me like, yeah, the toothbrush goes for 2 minutes and turns off. So it's like,
You're like,
okay,
okay.
all right, well, I know that and I'm not embarrassed by that.
Right,
I'm building my awareness of what I can do. And so a couple of people threw out some ideas.
Yeah.
And one of them said every time, like do like the top left. I have no left or right.
Right, yeah.
Top left for 30 seconds. And when it does a little like pause.
Yeah.
Yep. Go to the top right. And then when it pauses bottom. So I've used like kind of the quadrant approach for and that has worked. So I have now done it every night for a week. Not in the morning. I'm only shooting for nights. Something is more than nothing. But that's like such a huge, I have had electric toothbrush for years and never hit the 2 minute mark. Have never understood people that were able to continue brushing their teeth for 2 minutes straight.
I don't even know how long you're going.
Well, I know you used to set a timer. Like I've never,
No, I get it.
I can tell you, I have never brushed my teeth for 2 minutes straight. I thought my dog was sitting outside the window. I was a little distracted. Okay. So that's my main celebration. I don't know if it's, I'm not like promising like now forevermore, I'll brush my teeth for 2 minutes, but I'm looking for ways to continue building that because it does feel very adulting. It feels very like, look at me doing this. So anyway, it's been very sparkly.
It's not to have to think about like, look, when I'm showing my your teeth. You get to know when it does turn off. So you're like, okay, I just going.
Yeah, it just
goes. And like, done.
And now I just
it doesn't matter like where you are, you're done.
Exactly. My other update is what I purchased this week. So my celebration is I got my reward, which I showed you. I'm going to do a whole episode on organizing your hobbies. So I got my reward for not buying anything that added up to $20 for 2 weeks in a row. Complete, no more than $20 spent on anything that's not a need.
A necessity, yes.
I can buy, food. I can buy things that I need. Yeah, like if I need shoes or something. Although I didn't in the last 2 weeks, but you know what I mean? Like I'm talking about, and there's want shoes and there's need shoes, right? So I have my little chart that helps me check in, like, was this a want or a need? Was it an impulse buy? And it's really helping me to stay very focused on, am I going to buy this? And even yesterday, because it's getting hot here. Welcome to summer, guys.
Sure is.
And I'm like, I need more cool clothes because I just have such a hard time with the heat. And so I was looking for like a cool nightshirt that I could wear that would be sparkly because they just seem to shrink into nothingness. And I'm like, I'm not going to walk around the house wearing this thing.
I want to feel comfortable.
Yeah. And like, they're like up to here because they've shrunk to nothing. And I'm a tall person. So they're a little shorter on me when I get them anyway. So I found one, but then with the one, I had to pay for shipping. I'm like, well, if I get two, and so now I was up to $2 for a single nightshirt that I was like, Patty, is this a want or a need? And I literally backed it all the way up.
Nice.
And just got the one thing, which wasn't even a nightshirt. I realized, no, I could actually like keep finding because they were kind of expensive.
Yeah.
So I was like, no.
Good
so I was able to get my reward, which was my bookcases, which I showed you. So I'm hoping little like teaser, something to look forward to. I'm hoping to record next week in front of my new bookcases from IKEA. That was my reward purchase for not spending the money on frivolous kind of impulse things I saved it and put it towards something I've really been wanting for a very long time. And now I have it to organize my hobbies. So I'm going to talk about that next week. And then I have another reward scheduled in 2 more weeks to keep the pattern going. And all I purchased was 4 little like shoebox size bins for $8.
Amazing.
I know. So I was very excited that I even with the new sparkly thing, I didn't go buy a bunch of other stuff to add to it. I was like, no, that's unusual. So that's definitely something to acknowledge.
And they look so good.
They look
so good.
And I didn't break the bank. I'll talk about that next week.
Yeah.
Okay. So on to my tip for this week. This is my ADHD friendly tip. And that is, if you're a reader, consume books in the way that works for your brain.
Ooh.
So this is inspired by, you guys know I love the magazine Real Simple.
Yes.
This was in the June Real Simple magazine. There was a little one-page quick article. The question was, does listening to audiobooks count as reading? Becca? Thoughts?
I think yes. I'm gonna go with yes.
She's totally up in her head. Yes. I think
yes.
Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, I have to say, I have come around to this. When audiobooks first became a thing, I was a little bit of a book snob.
Yeah.
I was a little bit of a, okay, listening isn't the same as reading. I have definitely come full circle where I agree with this, and Real Simple experts agree that reading and listening all count as reading.
Woohoo!
And you have to remember, like in history, actual reading of books, like reading of anything, was really unusual. People were usually told stories, right? We were always listening to them.
Then pass it down.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So if sitting and physically reading a book is an obstacle for you, do what works for you. Listen, I've shared in previous podcasts, I will request the ebook in my e-reader. I will request the audiobook so I can listen to it, and I'll request the physical book. My favorite thing in the world is to have all three versions of the book from my library, so that when I'm sitting, I do prefer the physical book still. If I'm in bed reading, I want my little ebook so I can fall asleep reading it, or if I wake up and I'm trying to go back to sleep, it stops my mind from racing just to pick up the story I'm in the middle of and read. And if I'm on my walk or I'm driving, I can listen to the audio, or if I'm gardening or just doing different things, I can listen to it. So I am moving forward on whatever format I need. That's like my favorite thing. So I just wanted to share, give you permission to consume books in the way that works for you without feeling like it doesn't count. It all counts, all of it. So here's a couple of things I wanted to share from the little tiny article. Having a book read to you is not cheating. Research found that our understanding of written material is effectively the same, whether we are reading the page, or we have somebody reading that to us. The best way to read is whatever way you're going to do it.
I love that.
So lean into what works for you. It counts.
Totally counts.
Don't have any little asterisk. I hear some people say, well, I listened to it. It counts. Yeah, I read that. I listened to it.
You did that.
You read it. So own it. All right. So now a quick mid-year check-in. Guys, when this comes out, you guys know I record this 2 weeks ahead of time. We are almost at the halfway point of 2024, which blows my mind.
Crazy.
We're in the heat. We're in the dog days of summer, getting there.
Yeah.
So I want to just give you a chance to pause and check in to see how's your year going so far. So I'm going to ask you some prompts. I invite you, if you're in a space, to think and you want to take notes. If you're driving, this is not what you're going to be doing. So just if you're in a safe place to like jot down some different things, I'm going to ask you some questions to think about how your year's going so far. So the first is, did you have a word for the year or a theme for the year? If you did, how's it going? How's your word working for you? So I've shared my word. I changed. I started with the word grow, and then I moved it to implement. Because I know my challenge is starting things. I think of a lot of things, but I have a really hard time putting them into action. So I have really been much more intentional about implementing things when I connect to that word. So do you ever remember what your word was? I was working with my group in the past week, and a few people didn't even know what their word was anymore. And one person was like, I know I have it somewhere. So dust it off, go back and see, does that word still resonate with you? And what would help you remember and stay connected to it? So I always share, I have these little charms that I use. So I have little gears that help me remember to implement. That's for this year. And I connected it with last year's word, which was intention. So I take what was my intention and did I implement it? I try to, keep connected with that. But I then, because I realized I don't have a little image, I printed out this sign, which I think was this, like implement.
Oh,
so I have a picture of this
cool
on my desktop. So now when I look at it and I wrote implement below it, because my brain will forget. What? So I thought, well, that's a good way for me to remember it visually. So I just added that to help support the rest of my year. So that's just asking you to explore. Do you have a word? And if not, do you want one? And if you do, is it working for you? And for everybody, if you have a word and you want to use a word more than it's currently serving you, what prompt will you need to remember your word so that you're connecting to it in a way that's moving you into using it? And then if a word for the year is still a big ask for you, maybe a theme word for the summer, right? So we're just kicking off summer. We got June, a little bit more in June, we got July, we got August. So maybe calm, maybe family time, maybe tech-free time, something, a theme that might help you to look at the summer in that sparkly way. All right, next up, how are you doing with your goals, with your aims, with your intentions for 2024? Did you make a list? Did you have something that you really wanted to accomplish this year that maybe it's not where you want it to be? Or maybe you didn't and you want to now. And again, maybe summer might be a good place. Like I'm just going to set a goal for the summertime. I can't think beyond that, but I can think about the summer and what I have a goal for that. So again, how will you remember it? What prompt do you need so that it's going to help you to get that accomplished? And then one other thing I want to just share in terms of summer. So I always like to, kind of help you think about if you're planning your summer at all, or if you need some structure around your summer, if you have kids and they're out of school, or if your work schedule is a little more relaxed in the summertime and you have more open space, what would you need to be able to thrive in that environment? Because often we push back from structure, but there's like that Goldilocks amount of structure that really helps us to do the things we're trying to get done. So one of the things that I really want to issue as an invitation, if it's sparkly for you, is to plan your summer with theme days. This was really a very sparkly thing when I shared it with my group, so I'm sharing it here as well. So I'm just going to list some ideas to see if they get your brain thinking. And you can move these around to different days. I'm just going to assign them to certain days because it was just kind of a fun way to play with it. So maybe you have Adventure Mondays where you go off and you go somewhere new that you haven't been, or you go revisit a favorite place. Maybe you learn something new on Tuesdays, whatever it might be. Maybe you watch a little video to learn something new, or you take a class on Tuesdays or something that you're going to learn something new. Social Wednesdays, that can be the day you intentionally go out and meet up with a friend for coffee or lunch, or you schedule your kids' play dates so you have some structure around that. Foodie Thursdays, that could be your grocery shopping day. It can be your day to try a new menu or a new recipe you want to make. Movie Fridays, that's our kind of routine. We like to have movie Friday nights. I love this idea. No one in or out Sundays. So it's kind of like that. Nope, it's just the people that live in this house. We're not having anybody going out anywhere, and nobody's coming over and into our home. It's just us. I love that as an introvert. I love that very much. Wish I had thought of that when the kids were little. Maybe you want to have a tech-free day. So select one day each week to have tech-free as much as you can. Projects day. So it could be the day you get out all of the, things that you love to work on, but you don't have time. You kind of designate a day to do it. Maybe you have a volunteer day. You want to go and help someone in the community or some organization that you support. That can be a fun thing. And then one of the most sparkly ideas that came up in my membership community when I shared this was Activities Director Day. So this could be like if you have just you and a partner and you take turns, like each week, there's a day that you guys are going to go, but one person's responsible for doing the planning and you're just following along. And then it rotates the next week and you're now the one responsible for the agenda and they're following along. If you have kiddos, this can be really fun for them to take charge and be like, okay, this is the parameters that work for our family. So you get to plan with it as long as they meet these kind of criteria. So, it might be like, today we're going to the playground and then we're going to have a picnic and then we're going to whatever, but they get to pick what is exciting for them and they get to lead it and everybody else just gets to go along for the ride. And because it rotates, other people in the family can look forward to when it's their turn to decide the agenda.
Oh, that's really fun.
So if one last parting thing, when you're thinking about where you are either for the summer and what you want for the summer or what you want from the 2024 year as a whole, I invite you to think about this question. If you changed one thing today to better support yourself, what would it be? Just one thing. We can't do everything, but we can do one thing. So what would you need to make that change? What would it give you? So thinking about what's in it for you for making that change, connecting to your future self, and what might get in the way of you doing it. So identifying those obstacles now so you can kind of plan around them so they're not going to actually get in the way of you doing what you want. Remember, something is more than nothing is always my mantra. All right, so now for the book of the week.
Woo-hoo!
I know. It's a good one. This is a total beach read. So it's called Listen for the Lie. Again, if you're listening to this, I invite you to check out the podcast on YouTube or the YouTube channel, ADHD-Friendly. It is a mystery. It's a little bit of, so it says, intensely dark, a world-class whodunit, laugh out loud, funny, thrilling, and twisty.
Ooh.
A delight, explodes off the page, or like all like the little
Sounds like a good time.
Stephen King reviewed it, which is one of the reasons I picked it up, because I was like, Stephen King read this and he really liked it. He said, Listen for the Lie is a page turner from the first sentence to the very last. That is always what I'm looking for with ADHD, because I don't have the patience to read a book for 50 pages before my brain is like interested in the story. Total light beach read, very quick read. It did keep me guessing. It's not the, it's not like a classic. It's not kind of like going to become, no offense to Amy Tintera. Maybe it will be, what do I know? But for me, it was just like a really light, quick read that I was interested in the characters. It did have some pretty funny parts. There's like this voice that she hears in her head that is very sarcastic and funny at times that was very entertaining. So if you're looking for a quick, easy beach read, this is my book for the week. Listen for the Lie by Amy Tintera. Gotta put that over here because that's a library book. I gotta take it back. And so my quote of the week comes from James Clear, and this ties into the whole idea of what are you trying to do in 2024, as well as if you're just trying to focus on what you're trying to get out of your summer. So James says, what would you do today if you wanted to maximize laughter? What would you do today if you wanted to maximize your time outside? And what would you do today if you wanted to maximize peace of mind? Mm-hmm. He said, what unit of measurement serves you best right now? So again, you can't do everything, but you can do one thing. So if you think about what's most important to you, what one thing would you do to maximize it? I love that. You're speaking right to us, James. Yeah. All right, that's it for this episode of ADHD Friendly. As always, I invite you to take what works for you, leave the rest behind so that you're able to thrive with your brain. And next week, we're going to be talking about how to organize your hobbies, your passions, the things that bring you joy so that they're not in piles and kind of creating resistance to go in and use them. Until then, tally ho.